Sex Talk.
Hi!
Hi!
I'm Jenoa.
And I'm Mou.
Today we're having the sex talk.
The sex talk.
So today we're going to have sort of a beginner's guide to non-monogamy, and I'm going to call it, so you want to open your relationship, ... A how-to guide.
A how-to guide.
Mostly for people that are already in long-term relationships and maybe the sexual spark is kind of waned through the years.
Or maybe you're in a new relationship and you know you've been dating for like a year and a half, and you're kind of like, before we get settled into our patterns, because once we settle into our patterns, it's really hard to break them.
Right, this is a good time to explore stuff.
Yeah. And so how do you get started? What do you do to have an open relationship if you've never ever had one before?
So one idea is to sit down and just talk honestly about who you think is cute.
Or just even being able to be like, oh my God, she's so hot.
Yeah, just to open that. First of all, if that's not already open, because some people are very open about that.
Right.
And other people are not. I was in a relationship where it was considered not okay. Not okay. Even to point out.
That's oppressive to me. Really.
But even on TV, if I pointed out someone on TV and was like, holy shit, she's hot. She said it was disrespectful. And I clearly don't believe that. But so if you're not already there, start with, who do you think is cute?
Yeah. And I do want to piggyback, because there can be a fine line between respectful and disrespectful.
Sure.
Clearly. If you're in a relationship where it's imbalanced, one person's like really into the other person and the other person's just kind of like not as into them, like it's gonna be a little bit harder to be like, oh, she's really hot, and you're like pining away for this person.
Yeah.
So it's important to kind of recognize the dynamics within your relationship. But I also think like if you want to open that door in a situation, like you're into the person that's really into you and they might be obsessively into you, you can make them feel comfortable as well as open that door at the same time. And I think that when that happens simultaneously, that's when it can be totally more successful.
Yeah.
Where you remind your partner on a regular basis how hot he or she is.
Right, just having that open communication where you can honestly talk about what turns you on, what about other people turns you on, and maybe starting as a way of being kind. And we want to be kind is starting with making them feel safe and loved.
And it's important to recognize though that it's false when you say, well, no one's as hot as you are.
No, we're talking about real honesty.
Yeah,
that's something you really do find attractive.
When we treat our partner like that, and I don't look at anybody else but you.
And then real life stuff is that your partner is not the only one you're attracted to, and that you do notice like hot things on other people. Yeah. And then opening up that line of communication about that, and that would be a really good place to start. Another thing that Mou brought up earlier, which harkens back to one of our old episodes, it's very popular, called the 2-fuck rule. She brings up the 1-fuck rule. So one way to open up your relationship is to have very set parameters about what agreement you're making that makes it okay for someone to have a sexual experience outside of the relationship.
And it might just happen once.
Right.
The 1-night stand.
1-fuck rule, 1-night stand.
Yeah, whatever.
Like say, okay, so if you go out of town for business and it has nothing to do with me and you won't see that person again, I totally give you permission to go out to wherever, and if you meet someone, whatever you want to do with them, as long as it's safe and doesn't put me in any jeopardy, I agree that you can do that. And you can decide whether or not to share it with each other. Maybe you do want to know, maybe you don't want to know.
Yeah. And set your boundaries about what the 1-night stand can have. Can it include intercourse? Can it include oral sex? Is it only oral sex? Only kissing? What is allowed? What is not allowed? Set those parameters up before letting your partner go off into the wild
on that business trip with the dental business trip. For the
mastermind convention in Vegas. That
so
is.
There's
while
ways.
You're at home
and then
cooking up a feast for that sexy person that comes and cleans your
naked maid. So in this way, you're still a basically monogamous relationship. And I would say you're monogamous with an agreement. It doesn't affect your house. It doesn't happen in your hometown even. It's so mild, but it gives you and your partner a little bit of leeway to be sexual people. Yeah. But hopefully at the end of the day not really affect your relationship. And if you don't want to know about it even, you don't even have to deal with compersion or jealousy. You just have to be like, don't want to know.
Right.
And that's perfectly okay too. And what you're basically saying is, I know that you are a sexual being. I know that for the rest of your life, you don't want to just have sex with one person, me, and I don't expect you to. I don't want it to affect our lives, and I give you this out.
This one pass.
Yeah, and you can change the rules, whatever your rules are.
The one fuck rule, sex with someone outside the relationship only once.
So no double dipping.
So no double dipping, because that's when the emotions get involved. Well, this is, but that doesn't have a limit as to the number of people. It just kind of, so you've got to make up those rules. The one night stand rule is just that it can happen once, and maybe it only happens once in the lifetime of your relationship.
It's up to you.
It's really up to you guys. Your relationship, your rules.
Yeah. I think Dan Savage made up the word Monogamish.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what we're talking about. You have a life together, you have a structure, you share things, you own a home, you might have children, but you have these small outlets to have sexual experience outside of this big lifelong commitment you've made.
Right.
So it's almost like pressure valve of sexual exploration.
I think when Dan Savage brought up Monogamish, he was basically saying that people are monogamish. Like everybody says they're monogamous, but everyone's having these little secret dalliances everywhere.
Yes, Helen Fisher.
Right.
Helen Fisher talks about this, that basically we are monogamous in stretches, but with secret affairs periodically. And there are people out there that say, I've never had an affair, and I believe them, but it's pretty common that at some point in your life you've stepped out.
Right.
And you might not have felt good about it, maybe you wouldn't do it now.
Right.
But
it's important to remember that our society does not necessarily support non-monogamy or anything that's outside of monogamy. So people have more of this sense that they need to do it in secret. And one of the things that we talk about kind of a lot is that we don't think that it necessarily has to happen in secret. We think that you can actually be open with your partner about it and can have healthy conversations about it.
Right.
And still feel jealous and insecure.
And talk about it. But here's the other thing. So if you live in a conservative community, let's say, and you don't want to publicly be non-monogamous, and you have kids and you don't want to talk about that stuff or have your kids be a part of it, you can have these agreements just between the two of you about being out of town or whatever.
Right, which doesn't make this a lifestyle choice for you or by any means. It's just this is something that we did once and it's between us.
Yeah, this is what I'm allowed to do should the situation arise.
Yeah. I think that in the long run too, if it's something that you agree on with your partner, you're not keeping it a secret, it feels better as long.
We want you to live a long time.
It's a stress on your body, on your mind, your mind and your soul. So
yeah, and it's also in some relationships where you're not allowed to be honest about being attracted to other people.
It takes a toll.
That's not real intimacy because it's not being honest.
Yeah, and that person is supposed to be your best friend, but you can't even tell them some of your most intimate things, which kind of renders the whole concept false.
Yeah. So here at the Sex Talk, we want you to live a long life.
Yeah. We don't bash monogamy. We don't hate monogamy. We just recognize its limitations.
Right. And it's perfectly fine for whoever wants to do it. But, there are options.
Yeah.
And we're not...
I always say this. I always tell my couples this. Don't be afraid to have the difficult conversations in your relationship because those difficult conversations are the gateway to deeper, stronger connections and intimacy, I promise you.
Oh my God, and then when you're done with those hard, you dread having them, but then you're like oh my God, that was so easy.
Oh my God, thank you so much for listening, or oh my God, thanks for sharing.
Booyah.
That feels great.
That was a sex talk. Ding, ding, ding.
Sex Talk.